These days, late night TV is stuck at home with the rest of us. It's given us some good moments, like Stephen Colbert and John Oliver riffing off one another while staring in opposite directions.
Are you wearing pants these days?
What kind of pants? What's the bar for pants now?
Or Conan O'Brien reading a bedtime story to give parents a night off.
You're gonna love this, kids. It's a 4-volume set.
But it's also shown a major limitation of late night television. The gags, the contrived exchanges, and the endless plugging of products for sale that make late night what it is today don't work outside the glitz and glam of a studio.
I couldn't find products that were luxurious and really effective.
A lot of these at-home late night show recordings are actually pretty endearing. The shows are low production and learning to rely more on talent than, say, showmanship. That said, I think late night shows are missing an opportunity to recalibrate and focus on something missing from the genre. Really smart conversation, not just entertaining conversation. And for that, we don't have to look any further than late night's history itself, to a guy the New York Times called the last great intellectual talk show host, Dick Cavett. Late night talk shows evolved from the variety shows of the 1940s and 50s, which showcased a variety of acts, including magic tricks, comedy sketches, and musical numbers. Coming out of that, Tonight starring Steve Allen and Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show led the way in creating a new format. The monologue, the chairs framing the host's desk, the house band, the host's throw to prearranged anecdotes, it's all very formulaic and weirdly reassuring. It seems to ensure that the show won't contain anything so troubling that it might keep you awake after it's over. But late night was once home to this show, where the moments didn't feel scripted or contrived.
The Dick Cavett Show!
When you mention the national anthem and talk about playing it in any unorthodox way, how
That's
dare
not unorthodox.
anyone...
That's not unorthodox.
It isn't unorthodox?
No. I thought it was beautiful.
Let's show them. Oh, what? Let's show them.
What time is it?
We have to face up to the fact that we cannot conduct a unilateral military course of action around the world without the world organizing against us. We've got to get out of Asia.
This is the truth. My son came home with a drawing and showed me this strange-looking woman flying around. I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's Lucy in the sky with diamonds." And I thought, that's beautiful.
All breasts sag eventually.
Wait a minute. Wait, no, don't get up.
For almost a decade, between 1968 and 1975, the Dick Cavett Show created a wide platform for conversations that went beyond celebrity and into, I'd like to think, struggles over questions that spoke to every facet of this country's soul. It wasn't like anything else at the time, or arguably since.
I think you do a yeoman's job. There's nobody else on television that does what you do.
I got friends that are black and white and admirers, and they're none of them bigots.
May I now answer?
Yes, sir.
If I called any of your admirers bigots, who are not bigots, I apologize.
Maybe as Americans we are just as capable of atrocities, of mistakes, as all the other people in the world. We're no better, but we're no worse.
Cavett got his start in conventional late night, writing for Johnny Carson and Jack Paar, the two mainstays of late night at the time.
All right.
I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Soon he got his very own show, and very quickly he began to differentiate himself from the rest. Typically, late night show hosts conducted interviews behind a desk, with seats appearing higher than those of the guests. After his first year on air, Cavett ditched the desk and placed the seats directly across one another. The effect was an immediate, intimate ambiance, which was at the core of how Cavett worked. He wanted to make his interactions with his guests feel more like conversations than interviews, as per advice from his former boss, Jack Paar.
He said, "Kid, you're going to do a talk show. Don't do interviews. Make it a conversation," he said.
He also wasn't a comedian by trade, like many late-night show hosts were, so he rarely stood in front of his audience to deliver a carefully crafted monologue. He was a writer, and he thought like one. He didn't use gotcha moments or look for a cheap laugh or lead whatever it was he was discussing toward a punchline. He did use humor, his own, which was highbrow and deadpan.
Were you happy with the way The Godfather came out?
I'd rather not talk about movies. I don't think they're...
Okay.
If we could figure out some way...
Did you like the book, The Godfather?
And Cavett's style, the platform he provided, didn't go unappreciated. He was able to get some of the most elusive filmmakers, musicians, actors, and artists, many of whom were part of alternative or youth culture and ignored by mainstream media.
Very nice to see you, my little songbird.
Cavett's curation of American thought and culture would have been incomplete without his willingness to tackle what other hosts may have seen as disruptive or controversial.
I tell him I'd rather be with you than all the rest because you don't ask me no tough questions. You're real nice.
Although most American households had a TV by the 1960s, there were only 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS, to serve nearly 200 million people. That meant that the route to survival was to get as large an audience as possible. And that meant don't piss anyone off. Jack Paar was too polite to ask pointed questions. Merv Griffin was dedicated to interviewing the older generation of entertainers, mostly glamorous Hollywood stars. And Johnny Carson...
I think one of the dangers if you are a comedian, which basically I am, if you start to take yourself too seriously and start to comment on social issues, your sense of humor suffers somewhere.
Even if Cavett did see himself as a sort of entertainer, he cared deeply about what was happening in the country during the 60s and 70s. The Vietnam War, the civil rights struggle, violent suppression of protesters, Watergate.
But is the complexity of America and the world at the moment upsetting the fun in you? The pendulum of fun. It's hard to
I
be
have
funny.
felt that at this point. Yeah, I feel depressed by what's been going on. I really do. I think that I'm a little sickened by the state of things. A friend of mine said that bilge is being pumped out of the ship of state every day. They taught me in school that the country was a little sweeter than that.
And so Cavett leaned into tackling difficult subjects.
I think that anybody who gets into combat, anybody who hears the bullets whistling over his head and sees one of his friends killed, or has a friend lying dying beside him with his eyes just looking up at you saying, why? I think that anybody who senses these things can't help but feel a total revulsion for the absurdity and stupidity of men shooting at other men.
So why must we always concentrate on color or religion or this? There are other ways of connecting men.
I don't know what most white people in this country feel, but I can only include what they feel from the state of their institutions. I don't know whether the labor unions and their bosses really hate me. That doesn't matter, but I know I'm not in their unions. I don't know if the real estate lobby is anything against black people, but I know the real estate lobbies keep me in the ghetto.
And he didn't ignore difficult guests.
Why don't you look at your question sheet and ask a question? Hey, could I talk to the audience for a
Why
moment?
don't you fold it 5 ways and put it where the moon don't shine?
Through prioritizing unfiltered conversation, ditching the mainstay platitudes of celebrity interviews, and being undaunted by the prospect of general discomfort, Cavett's show was able to curate a series of conversations critical to changes happening in the country. And it helped that people wanted to be on his show. They weren't there to promote a new film or book or album, but to engage in issues of social and political importance. His own candor also revealed his own biases and discomforts, especially on race, showing the limitations of his proud progressive liberalism. Like when, in a conversation with James Earl Jones, he commented on the controversy over Anthony Quinn wearing blackface to play a Haitian emperor.
Saying it was a terrible idea for him to play a black man on the screen because black people should play it and it would take away from black pride and all of that if a white man were to play a black man. And I think this is nonsense.
Or when he discussed the N-word with Eddie Murphy.
Are you offended by the word nigga in it?
Why? Where did that come from?
Did I say that?
She's like possessed.
His passion for trying to understand this country meant he was one of the first people to report on Watergate. His impact on raising awareness about the scandal was highlighted in the 2014 PBS documentary, Dick Cavett's Watergate.
Hello, I'm Dick Cavett, and I can't believe where I am at this moment.
and the Nixon administration noticed.
We've complained bitterly about the Cavett Show. Well, is there any way we can screw it? That's what I mean. There must be ways. We've been trying to.
It's hard to look at Cavett and not compare him and his show to what we have today. A late night show landscape where entertainment is defined not as an intellectual and earnest engagement with people who shape our cultural lives, but as creating neatly packaged moments that are viral, brief, and comforting. We've gone from this.
Can't you just about give a yes-no answer to the Vietnam War was not worth it?
To this. In a 2018 interview with the AV Club, even Cavett himself lamented the state of late night.
Now you turn in a talk show, somebody comes on and plugs their movie and says the word exciting 7 times and leaves.
And yes, with hundreds of channels on cable, there's been a fragmentation, which has created not only variety, but also pressure to be concise, flashy, entertaining. Fewer people are watching late night in real time. More of us watch the excerpts on YouTube. When the conversations do get a bit political, there's still this wariness of alienating the nightly audience, and so the depth and range of any political exploration is limited. What we get is witty, entertaining political commentary, not a wrangling of ideas. Dick Cavett's interviews can be found today on YouTube, and there they've been given a new life. And I think that's not only because of the breadth of personalities he was able to bring on his show, but also the conversation. Talking without trying to sell you something, whether a product or personality, is a lost art many are still searching for. So yes, Dick Cavett is absolutely the late night GOAT. Who do you think actually does a pretty good job of coming close to him? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and come back next week when we have another episode of Pop Americana.